And we are back, and it is time for the else words. This is our discussion point, and this time we have a twofer news story. The first bit is that the Big Bang Theory has been renewed for two more seasons. Um, and then the second bit is that the Young Sheldon prequel has been greenlit straight to series by CBS. So, Corey, what are your thoughts on this? Because I believe with after these two seasons, they'd be at season 12.
It takes us
Um,
up to season 12. One thing I wanted to mention about this is so the main stars of the series, which would be Sheldon, Leonard, and Penny, they were getting paid $1 million an episode, which is something that we've seen when Friends was really popular. All the stars started getting paid $1 million an episode. Seinfeld, all the actors on that started getting paid $1 million an episode. So it's not unusual for the most popular comedy shows on TV to have their stars be in that $1 million range. When you look at the cost per episode, I think is about 10 million per
yeah,
episode of the show, and the amount of money that's going towards the cast at that point takes up the lion's share of it. It doesn't take a lot to produce the show, as far as like big sets or anything. But the those three actors and then the ones who play Raj and Howard have all agreed to take a pay cut of 10% essentially, so going from 1 million an episode to 900,000 an episode, and have some of their residuals, their points, cut to apply towards the actresses who play Amy and Bernadette, to give them a bump up in pay because they're not at that scale. They either haven't been in the show long enough, or they're not considered by the producers of the show to be of the same value as those other actors and actresses. Which it's very impressive to me, and it's encouraging to me to see actors like that, cast members who stick up for their fellow castmates, who say, but they're a part of this too. You know, they're stars of the show too. They're a part of our family. We take care of them as well. They're still in negotiations though, but it seems likely that they'll sign back on, especially because they're integral to the plots now. The plot of Sheldon is now very ingrained into having Amy Farrah Fowler is part of his life. The plot with Howard very much includes the Bernadette character. They have a child together. They live together. They're married. So I think that it was a very sweet gesture. And people still say, yeah, but they're making 900,000 an episode. Uh, it, how much is it really going to hurt them to lose that? That's not exactly the point. I think it's a cool move.
yeah, and the other part, and um, beat real quick. Where's the text that's in the article here? What is that from? Is that from the Hollywood Reporter article on um Young Sheldon or the other one? Because there's some stuff in here I want to point out that I think we're sort of possibly getting into a problem with, and it's not with Big Bang Theory being renewed. It's in um the spin-offs, because there's a paragraph here that is interesting. This is Young Sheldon is one of many of multiple spin-offs underway this season. ABC is also prepping a 90s set spin-off of the Goldbergs, as well as a college-focused offshoot of Blackish, starring Yara Shahidi. And in an so I mean, we see, CBS has already practiced some of this. The um, we also have, CBS doing the Good Wife spinoff on CBS All Access with The Good Fight. And we have already got, the Blacklist Redemption, and then the Dick Wolf Chicago verse that we've got going on over at NBC as well. So do you think we're getting at a little bit um spin-off heavy when it comes to a lot of these shows?
Well, I mean, it, Here's where Corey shits on people who can't come up with fucking new ideas. Uh, yeah, I believe that that's something that's gone on for easily several generations, but certainly CBS has done it to death with their CSI series getting spun off and spun off and spun off and spun off. And it didn't matter if a series like came out and then didn't make it. It's like, well, let's do another spin-off. Law and Order is being pointed out by Evan, is another one that has had a lot of spin-offs to varying degrees of success and failure. They've tried twice now to spin off Criminal Minds. It's had a season that had Forrest Whitaker that didn't land and got canceled, and then they tried to do another series spin-off with I think Gary Sinise.
Which they are
He
doing
himself,
yeah.
which he himself had done a spin-off of CSI at one point. And then I think that one either failed or isn't coming back. It seems like they keep trying to milk a cow that only has so much milk to give, but we're just going to keep spreading it out. And so we'll make it all 2% as opposed to whole. So you don't get the fatty goodness. You just get the little bit of, oh, no, there's a little something. Oh, that'll taste okay in cereal. That's essentially what they're doing, is they're just bleeding dry the love of one property to make multiple properties that won't have the same returns. And that's pretty dumb to me. On the other hand, the Young Sheldon series, as much as I am not interested in seeing a series about young Sheldon, because like a prequel to The Walking Dead, it's like, I already know where this fucking goes. I will say it gives Laurie Metcalf another chance at a sitcom, and I adore Laurie Metcalf. So in that regard, I might enjoy it. It's just, it's really tough to say. I mean, isn't Fresh Off the Boat already based in the 90s?
Yeah, Fresh Off the Boat is based on the 90s, but Fresh Off the Boat and the Goldbergs are hitting this other trend that happened 2 years ago, and that was shows based on other people's lives,
Right.
who were involved in creating. So, the Goldbergs is, Adam F. Goldberg, based off of his life and as a child.
But as I understand it, the Goldberg spinoff is about the teachers from his school. It's about the coach.
Yeah, it's about the coach, the
counselor.
I don't know. I knew the pilot. They were talking about it being with the coach, but they might have brought in the counselor, who's Tim Meadows,
right? Who's already on Son of Zorn. I just like, that's the spinoff direction, and then you have to do it a decade later as well. I don't really get the premise of that as to why that show, who conceptualized, like, we're gonna do a spinoff of the Goldbergs, and we're gonna make it about the gym coach and the school counselor, and we'll set it a few years later too, so it has nothing to do with any of these fucking characters now. I just, who conceptualized this and why?
Yeah.
The Blackish spinoff about the eldest daughter going to college, like, I remember a different world. I remember that it existed as one season about being about Denise Huxtable, and then they had to reinvent that show a couple of times over. I remember the Marissa Tomei years. I get why they think that her going to college could make for an interesting show, and the actress is great. She's great on the program, but the reason the program is good is because of the ensemble cast. I don't know that anybody's aching to see it spun off with her character. I would just assume her character still be a part of the show and do one of those stupid things where they're going to college in the same fucking town, so they still get to live at home and get to involve the college stories as someone who's developing these attitudes and stuff in college, which you already kind of see reflected in the characters in the show anyways. The kids are all kind of know-it-alls. They all think they're smarter than their parents, and often do. So why not just reflect that in the program that already exists? It's just, it's trying to get a bigger bank. It's trying to say, well, I produced a show and I want to have another show that I'm also going to get residuals on. which is fine, but it's such an easy, simplistic way to spread things out as opposed to trying to come up with a new concept and new actors and everything else. And it bugs the shit out of me. It bugs me to no end because it's all fucking Joni Loves Chachi at this point. And I don't know if you recall, but Joni Loves Chachi, shit show. Aftermath, shit show. Three's a Crowd, I love me some Jack Tripper, shit show. Fucking Three's Company had ended. We didn't need the continuation of that. Too many times it's just like we can't improve this, but we're just gonna try to take what's already there and already sort of works and see if we can make it happen again. See if lightning strikes twice. It's not any good. It's too many times to the same well, and it just I'm kind of disgusted by it. But that's why fucking mainstream TV is falling the fuck apart.
Yeah.
You know, we're at a point where people are already just sort of halfway disenchanted with the broadcast channels and what's on there. And as much as Big Bang Theory is a success, people love to hate it. People love to despise that show. So I don't know that you're going to get a lot of people who aren't already watching the Big Bang Theory to watch the spin-off show of it. And I think that a lot of people who watch the Big Bang Theory are not going to enjoy a show about a young Sheldon. I think they're going to feel like they already got their fill of it. It's the same thing as the How I Met Your Father spin-off that was supposed to happen and failed, and they're trying it again. I don't think that anybody is really jumping up and down to say, yeah, that's what I've been missing, is more of this thing that I already see too many fucking times in syndication every 7 to 8 o'clock. You know, it's God damn it. TBS has played the shit out of the Big Bang Theory. I don't think I can handle any more of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Time will tell on a lot of these things. Where it is, I am happy to see the Big Bang Theory get renewed because I do like the Big Bang Theory. It's good Saturday or Thursday night or Friday morning watching for me, but who knows.
And keep in mind, this is me being a hypocrite because I love the fucking Marvel movies, and the Marvel movies are just like one after a fucking another at this point. And we were just talking about Iron Fist and how that is relation to the other Marvel shows and stuff. But that's kind of like the Marvel shows on Netflix, at least, are short seasons, and they don't happen at the same time. We go through, we get a season of one, and then we have a couple months, and then we get a season of one, and we have a couple months to get the next season of the first one, and so on. It's a different animal than what this is. This is for mainstream TV. This is supposed to be 24 episodes a season, is the expectation. Yeah. And is there going to be a young Sheldon show that's like, here you watch young Sheldon and it leads right into the Big Bang Theory, or vice versa, to try to get the numbers, to get the people to watch it? I just don't know that that's anything that is going to work to their benefit. It was a little different in the 80s when it was like, oh, we have the Golden Girls and then we have Empty Nest. Well, Empty Nest was a completely different fucking show. It's just that they existed in the same universe, so it kind of had an air of connectedness to it. Or TGI Fridays, when it was like, oh, and here's Steve Urkel and he puts on his jetpack and all of a sudden he's hanging out with the Step by Step kids. Okay, yeah, I mean, I get that conceptually, but they still are their own fucking thing. It's not like Urkel is hanging out at Family Matters and then goes next door and it's Urkel's family and shit. That would be something else entirely, because we were already fucking Urkeled out. Any more Urkel would have just put us over the fucking edge. But we got enough Jaleel to sustain us for several seasons, and it was that's how you fucking do it. Man, I don't know.
Kids, for that reference, ask your parents.
And they will be upset. They will be upset that someone talks smack about Jaleel White.
All right. Well, that is, I think, going to do it for us here tonight. Unless there's anything else you want to add there, Corey.
No.
All right.
Fuck NCIS.
Fair enough.
Just on principle. Just on principle. Fuck NCIS.